you have it. Welcome aboard, everybody. It is Hump Day. I am glad to be here. Scott, how about yourself? You happy to be here?
Yeah, happy to be here. By the way, is that an Isotopes shirt?
It is. It is. That is an
Nice.
Albuquerque Isotope shirt. Very nice. This is a courtesy of my one and only son. So,
Cool.
by the way, this is heading back to the window with Scott and Scott. I'm Scott Steen, lead handicapper at winnersandwhiners.com.
And I'm your co-host, Scott Rochelle, senior handicapper over winnersandwhiners.com.
There you go. And together we hope to guide you and help all of us head back to the window. My son, Scott, got this little hockey parlay system going. Took a losing night last night, but he still got an ROI after about 9 days of better than 21%. So
it's not bad.
There you go. Michelle Ware's back again. What's up, Michelle? T-Train in the house. We are color coordinated today. We are the men in black. We are hoping to help everybody get some Johnny Cash today.
We called each other up and made sure we were wearing the same color.
Yeah. I'm sure everybody can picture that happening just like that. By the way, before we get going, a couple of housekeeping items. Please remember to like and subscribe. It makes us look good with the powers that be. And of course, if you're checking us out on podcast form or anywhere else where you have the option, please rate and review. Give us, 1 million stars, Scott. Do you think that's too much?
1.5 million. Who's counting?
There you go. And of course, I want you to check out the newest addition to the Winners and Whiners radio /podcast/video family. It is my buddy Chris King over there doing his thing on a show called Just Parlays. And believe it or not, as you might judge from the title, it's all about the political landscape and the elections coming up in 2022. No, it's about parlays. It's just parlays. Get over there and check it out, won't you? Good to see you, Bronco Devil in the house. Joan is here. Magellan Sports is here. JC Stone, Casino, Hump Day, Casino, Jacob in the house. Bronco Devil says you look like you're going to a funeral. A couple of our picks last night kind of made you feel that way. Scott, right off the bat, before we even get rolling, we got a question. Michigan State team total over 66.5 against Butler. Scott, how are you? How you feeling about the Bulldogs and the and Sparty there?
Well, we know that Michigan State is still the better team in this matchup. Now, Butler is 3-0. They are a pretty underrated team. Defensively, they're very good. And Butler is extremely, extremely slow. So they will try to eat the entire clock. They're also going to be playing in the Hinkle Fieldhouse. So you know that Butler should be pretty pumped up for that game because they always are pumped up at Hinkle. Now, Michigan State is averaging roughly 11 more rebounds per game. So I do think that they should be able to crash the glass. They should be able to get a lot of either second chance points or just free throw attempts. But I'd go over just because I think Michigan State does have better offense than Troy, Central Arkansas, and IUPUI. But it's not going to be pretty because Butler takes the air out of the basketball. It will be extremely frustrating.
Yeah, you have to remember this is a Bulldog team that is really banged up right now. They've still got Chuck Harris. He's averaging 16 points a game, but they've got no Aaron Thompson yet this year, who led the Bulldogs last year in assists. They've got no Miles Tate. Bo Hodges is questionable. Ty Gross came over from Eastern Michigan. He's kind of been a disappointment so far. As far as Michigan State goes, I think Hogarth's looked good so far. He's been dishing the ball after pretty much riding the pine last year. But Michigan State, man, it's kind of a mixed bag for me because they don't shoot well from three, shooting just 28% from three-point land so far. But the Spartans, you're right, Scott, they're going to push the pace. And with all the absences on the Butler side, I think they are going to get some second and third chance looks. I don't hate the team total over there. I think I'd lay it with Michigan State and probably play the team total over as well.
I don't think it's going to be easy. I don't think they're going to cruise into 80 points. I think it'll be a grind, but I do think they'll get there at some point.
Absolutely. Brendan Tracy in the house. Good morning, everybody. And welcome back. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Scott Selection. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get to it, Scott. We've got a lot to do on the show today, as we always do. So we're going to start it off with who got ripped off, man, who got it stolen from him. You know who you are. You know who you are as we kick off the Hump Day edition of Call the Cops. All right, let's get it rolling, shall we? Man, we've got three really bad ones today. College basketball, you had Jacksonville State, Troy under 132.5. God, this was a heartbreaker. It just ripped your guts out. It was tied 49. Huh?
It's probably the worst beat of the year so far for college
Yeah,
basketball.
probably is. It was tied 49-49 at the end of regulation. So you've beat the number by 32.5 points, but then unfortunately it's at 98. But you know what, Scott?
Well, it's more. It's 34 points.
Or 34.5. Sorry, you're not going to score 34 points in overtime. You're good. Can I interest you in a second overtime after it ties at 110 at the end of the first overtime? Second overtime doesn't go as well, Scott. They put up 16 points, but they still end in a tie, 63-63. You're fucked. It's 132.5. You're 6.5 points short, but holy shit, they decided to absolutely stop scoring. This game is sitting 131, Scott. They've got a
It's sitting 132.
Or excuse 132. You're right. 132. Troy's got the lead. Jacksonville shoots the desperation three. They miss. Troy rebounds. Game over, right? Oh, shit. Jacksonville fouls. With under a second left, Troy goes to the line, makes not one, but two free throws. Congratulations. Your under 132.5 is finally dead. It took 3 overtimes to kill you, but you're gone. Call the cops.
3 overtimes. That's so brutal. That's so bad.
Yep.
Because somebody somewhere had it and they were just either counting their money, stopped watching the game, or they were miserable instead of 2.5 hours for about 3.5 hours. And I can only imagine how painful that experience was. But another awful experience in college basketball, if you had UT Arlington -2 against Abilene Christian, led by 3 with 3 seconds left. Intentional foul. Smart move. You can't really hate it. That's what you're supposed to do. Single bonus. Abilene Christian misses the first free throw on purpose. They got the rebound. They hit a 3-pointer at the buzzer to send it to overtime.
That desperation play that never, ever works, ever.
Never works. And then UT Arlington, once you're going to overtime, you're dead. UT Arlington lost by 9. You had it in the bag. You just had to get one rebound. You couldn't do it. And Arlington went from up 3 to down 9. You can rip up your ticket.
Yep. Browns backers in the house. Nathan Sarin is here. Nice isotope shirt. I give all the credit to my son. Jacob Houston wants to know when the directional Michigans learned how to play defense. About 5 minutes before game time last night, and early as I could tell. Holy shit. You see that one going under with no weather?
I know that it was mentioned in the comments section that somebody did really like the first half under. So I did see that. It really came down to the one argument that I had, I guess, for playing the under. The one argument I had against playing an over, which would be the pace for Western Michigan because they play slow, but they give up 40 to Akron.
Yeah.
You can't anticipate them to play that well defensively.
Nope, not at all. And speaking of the MAC, that's going to be our last call to cops. If you were one of my premium subs, you had this. We got a push out of it, Scott, but I know there was and you did as well, because you had this as your play of the day too, right?
I had 34 flat, so
Yep.
I got a push out of it.
If you had Miami of Ohio, team total over 34, that's what you had. That's what my premium subs had it. But at game time, that was 34.5. And why does that half matter? You'll find out. They missed an extra point, Scott, in the first quarter on a play that looked to me, for all intents and purposes, like everybody on the defense was offsides. Plus, it looked like somebody came right over the center. That's unsportsmanlike conduct. None of that shit was called. They missed an extra point to go up go down 7-6. Why did that matter, Scott?
Well, because they scored 5 touchdowns. But they only made 4 extra points.
Because they scored 5 touchdowns and only made 4 extra points. That game lands on 34. But it's worse than that, because they hit 34 with 4:29 left in the third quarter. They're going to get at least two more possessions, probably 3. Their best possession, big long drive, 6-minute drive. They have the ball down to the 25-yard line, 4th and 4.
Kick the damn field goal.
42 yards. Even with a MAC kicker, that should be a 65-35 make, right?
It should be, or at least you should try it.
Yeah, but no. It's a teaching moment. Wanted to teach him something, and mainly they wanted to teach him that we don't know how to run up the fucking middle. That's
if you're gonna go for it there, which I disagree with. Can you at least try to throw the ball? The clock only runs after 4th down. if you get the actual first down.
Yeah.
They really couldn't. Come on, you're going to run the ball on 4th and 4? Try a
No,
play action pass.
plus it would have made it more than 4 scores. It was the difference, if I'm not mistaken.
Should be.
So, yeah.
I took a nap during the game anyway, so it's fine.
Do you see what I have up on the screen right now?
That's why I said it.
Okay, very good. Outstanding. I always forget the banners in the first part. So one more reminder to like and subscribe, or Rachel will come to your house and demand to take a nap.
I mean, I like naps, okay? It's how you get through some of these bad beats. It's a worse beat if you're watching it from start to finish.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Well, there was some good news out there, Scott. Hopefully this is where most of our picks were. Let's find out who is sitting in the rocking chair.
So, first one in the NBA, if you had the Warriors +3, they came out to play. They led by 22 after the third quarter, won by 18 points.
Very solid. Very solid. If you had the Jazz -11.5 against those 76ers, no problem at all for the Jizzy Jazz. Led by 16 at halftime. They ended up winning by 35. Embiid played that game?
No, he did not. Do you think Embiid actually played a basketball game?
Not that they lost by 35, I don't.
Yeah, so he did not play. And the last one, if you had Western Michigan and Eastern Michigan, either first half under or full game under, full game total was 66.5, 13 points at halftime. Game landed 43.
Not much of a doubt about that one, man. It looked like it was going to be kind of an overnight in the MAC last night, and it was just one game barely snuck over the total, and the other were well under. So,
yeah. Well, the Miami Ohio one was kind of close because they had 41 going into the fourth. So even a mediocre quarter, you're probably pushing at 51. Can I interest you in no points in that entire quarter?
You cannot interest me at all.
Neither can I, but that's what happened.
Okay. All right. Enough about that. Okay, I guess we have to talk about it. Scott, we usually do a segment called The Odds Makers Were Drunk, where the lines just kind of don't make any sense. And so we had a situation yesterday where the odds makers were drunk, but there was somebody that was drunk as well. And then there was
I think it's the first time we've done this for the segment.
Yeah, and then there's probably somebody that was listening to us and they were drunk. So it just perpetuated. Let's find out who was drinking today, Scott. All right, go ahead and deliver the bad news.
Well, it was us.
It was us.
The two of us sitting right here, because our Bet the Farm play was Oregon. Quack, quack. -3.5 against BYU. They lost by 32 points. Now, looking at the actual game itself, Oregon, I guess, was supposed to be the better team. I don't really know what the hell happened there.
The game was in Oregon. They got away from maybe it was
in Oregon. You're playing in the Moda Center. You know, you got a decent crowd there. You lost by 32 points. Really? But we're not going to blame Oregon, you know, because they're college kids and they got a lot to learn. We'll blame us.
Yep.
Because for some reason we should have seen that. But Oregon, yeah, we gave them out. They got buried. So we'll take responsibility. We were drunk.
The only good thing I'll say about that game is you didn't have to watch it very long to realize
you really didn't.
You were probably fucked. It was just brutal from beginning to end. So, yeah. Ohio settled for the field goal too many times. I agree. Maybe BYU is that good.
Oh, no, BYU is good. It's one thing to be good at basketball. It's another thing to beat a top 12 team ranked wise in a hostile environment by 32 points. Like, I think BYU is good. I don't know if they're 32 points better than a top 15 team in the country, right. But I will give BYU some respect. That is a good basketball team.
JC Stone, Valpo, Stanford under 133 says it's a lock. But you're right.
Well, Valpo plays extremely slow. Yeah. I know Stanford had issues scoring against Tarleton. I think they scored 62 points.
They play extremely terrible. So
yeah, so I don't hate that under either.
No, not a bit. Central Michigan team total under 28.5 against Ball State, Scott.
I think he meant over.
Over, sorry. Opened up 30.5, went down. Full game has dropped 6. Oh, look at that. Scott R looks great when he smiles.
It rarely happens, but thank you.
Total. Yep. So, is there rain coming? Is there rain coming, Tony? I checked that, man.
For me,
Huh.
I feel like it's a
I know.
tough spot because Central Michigan's offense has actually looked very good the last couple of weeks, and Ball State was a team, of course, that won the MAC last year, has definitely taken a step backwards. When you see a total drop of about 6 points there, I'm usually just going to not play if I like the over on something if there's a movement that heavy in the opposite direction. So I'm personally going to pass on that if I were you, Jacob. If it was 27.5, maybe. I do think the hook is kind of unfortunate, but the fact that the total has dropped 6 points does seem pretty concerning if you like any type of over, right?
Yeah, I'm just I'm looking at the official. Looking at the
I
official.
don't know if it's weather or not or whatever, but when a total drops that much, I'm usually hesitant to take a team total over in that spot.
That is weather, brother. It's going to be. It looks like going to be alternating between. This is fantastic. I don't know whether you like few showers, light rain, or rain. You're going to get all of those tonight.
Bring your swim trunks.
Wind coming out of the southwest, 13, 14 miles an hour, gust up to 20. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not ideal, and it does explain the drop right there. Rain doesn't bother you. Wind does. He's
Well,
absolutely.
there's also wind, so you got that too.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about it before, but it's for every mile an hour the wind is over 10, the total just drops exponentially. So you always keep an eye on the wind. Yeah, rain, not as big a deal unless it's just a frog strangler, gully washer, that kind of thing. Bring your
I'm
swimmers.
expecting over or under 15.5 ponchos in attendance.
Jacob, he said, "I live in Indiana. I don't see any rain in our forecast, dude. I'm only reporting what the Weather Channel just told me. This is weather.
Got over under 15.5 ponchos in attendance.
Oh, over.
I'm going over too.
Yeah, absolutely correct. What else we got on the football? I know we've got another MAC game there.
Well, somebody was asking about one of the MAC
oh,
games.
it's the Buffalo game. About the what game, Scott?
Yeah, the Buffalo one. Somebody was asking if it looked like a trap line with Northern Illinois -1.5. The argument would be that emotionally, it's Buffalo's last home game of the season, but this team has been awful. They're 4-6. I don't think they're very good at football, but you're looking at Northern Illinois, and you look at the point differential with this team. I can't tell how much of it is smoke and mirrors because Lombardi's been very good. I'll give him credit for that. But Northern Illinois is 7-3. They're 5-1 in conference play. They're averaging 31.5 points per game, and they're allowing 33.3 points per game.
Yeah,
so they're allowing 2 more points basically per game, and they're 4 games over in both conference play and overall. That sounds a little bit odd, doesn't it?
If they were in baseball, I would say they're exceeding their PECOTA.
They're the Mariners.
Yeah, they are. They're exactly. That's exactly who they are. They win. They've won every close game. But they've got some talent there, Scott. They've got Jay Drucker in the backfield.
They got a good wide receiving core as well.
They have a good wide receiving core. And Lombardi, they're missing their second leading rusher, but they were missing last week. They didn't matter. Lombardi can pick up the slack. And, again, he's another one of these MAC quarterbacks that nobody talks about that's pretty damn decent. But I'm more interested in just how terrible this Buffalo defense is, especially against the run. They're bottom 20 in the nation in both yards per carry and yards allowed per game in rushing. I don't know how the Bulls step up to stop them here, Scott. And I hate to say
Lombardi can also run, by the way.
I said that. I said he's at rush for 386 yards so far.
I thought you were talking about I thought you were talking about one of the running backs. I didn't realize you were talking about Lombardi. Sorry.
You don't even listen to the show, do you?
I listened to it in my head.
Good enough. Huskies, by the way, never lost in Buffalo, Scott.
For me, I got to go with Northern Illinois. I don't think that Buffalo's new coach is that good. And I think we're learning that Kansas actually won multiple games for once. Mm-hmm. I think Leopold was actually a good coach. Yeah. So I'm assuming they downgraded there.
Oh, who else was pretty good?
Who?
Jared Patterson was pretty good.
Oh, I heard he was good too. I know Marks was supposed to have a big year, and he hasn't really done much. They've been using McDuffie more.
They're rushing for almost 100 yards less per game this year than last year.
Yeah, and Ventrice has been meh. I don't think he's been very good, but I got to go Northern Illinois. However, I'm not taking the 1.5. I'll take the money line. Northern
Yep.
Illinois, it seems like every game they play is just an absolute sweat every time.
Yep.
Give me the money line. I'm not going to sweat anything out. I think it'll
Right.
come down to the wire. But Northern Illinois, underrated factor for that team. Very good field goal kicking unit.
Mm-hmm.
Very important in the MAC. You rarely see good kicking units. They actually have one.
Going to be windy. Going to be windy in Buffalo, so keep an eye on that. So,
Well, that's important because Buffalo can't stop the run.
yep, yep, that is very important. Crash, Pacers, Wizards, Cavs, all to cover. Scott, Pacers
Cavs, I'll
against
pass on.
Pacers against Detroit. Pacers against Detroit.
I hate Detroit. I mean,
Yeah,
the
I'm with
team's
you.
awful. But I
And
think that Indiana should cover. They burned me with that one game against Denver. So, of course, I'm a little bit biased. Roland, if you like Buffalo money line, are you crazy? No, they're 1.5-point underdogs. That's not like a shocking 20-point underdog money line play. No, they could win. I think the game will be close. I'm just going with the team that's actually proven that they could win close games. Buffalo losing 2 in a row, got buried by Miami, Ohio last week, lost to Bowling Green the game prior. I'm just not interested. If I'm playing, I'm taking Northern Illinois, but I'm taking the money line. But to go with the actual basketball games, Indiana, I kind of have to like because Detroit just not a good basketball team. And believe it or not, fading bad teams in basketball is usually profitable, as crazy as that sounds. But to go through the other games there, I don't like Cleveland at all tonight. Cleveland's missing basically everybody. I actually think the Nets are going to roll tonight. I know
that
that
was
they
our
played
that was
yes.
our silver
Yeah.
medal bet the farm, by the way.
Well, your argument going in was, well, you like the Nets on a back-to-back, you got to be nuts. And the argument there is the Nets got embarrassed, so they didn't get to use the starters for much of the fourth quarter, if any of the fourth quarter. And Cleveland is missing most of their best players
Yep.
because Sexton, we know, is already out. Mobley is now out for a month, and he was one of the favorites to win Rookie of the Year. Markkanen's still out, and Jared Allen, their starting center, who's been really good this season, is
Mm-hmm.
also out, which means
Yep.
your projected starting lineup for the Cavaliers is Rubio, Garland, Okoro, one of your guys, Dean Wade, and potentially Kevin Love if he can play for more than 5 minutes. So that's a terrible starting lineup. I can't pick Cleveland if they're missing most of their best guys. I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. 10's a ton, especially like you said, the Nets on a back to back. And Cleveland's been very good against the number this year, but that's a different team. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't really base any offensive or defensive numbers on what they're trotting out there tonight, missing what, 3 of their starters?
Yeah, it's not exactly a pretty situation. I think the Nets should roll. There's always a chance the Nets fall apart in the fourth quarter and still win the game because we've seen that before, where they just simply really go ISO heavy in the fourth quarter and look awful. Seen
Right.
that before, but I can't take Cleveland. They're missing too many guys. If you're gonna
Okay.
be, if you're wait, what?
Oh, no, I was just gonna go on to the next one. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, you can. I was gonna say if you're forced to play Dean Wade for about 32 minutes, I can't exactly back you. You know.
What's the matter with you? I love DW, man.
He was great in college. I'm just saying the fact that he's been a bench warmer now, he might play serious minutes tells you the current active health of the roster.
Yeah, absolutely true. I mean, we talked before the show that I really can't believe he's in the NBA, let alone having a chance to start. Somebody asked about the Thunder to cover against Houston. Is Houston just a blind fade at this point?
I made a video on the game, so I got the Thunder. Just spoiler alert if you want my reasoning as to why. Either watch that video or listen for the next 20 seconds because I'll just repeat everything that I said in the video. I can't back the Rockets because they've lost 12 in a row and they're 0-8 on the road. If you're winless on the highway and you're only getting 2.5, I have to fade you just based on principle. And the Thunder, they lost their last 2 games pretty decisively. They played the Nets, good basketball team, played the Heat, good basketball team. Against underwhelming or average teams, the Thunder have been competitive, but it's mostly principle. If you're 0-8 on the road and most of those games aren't close, I have to fade you.
Yeah, you have to. And this is a Thunder team that's done pretty well against bad teams. They struggled their last 2 times out against Brooklyn and Miami.
And no, I'm not overreacting to the second game of the season where Houston killed this team. I'm not going to overreact to it. I think
No.
Oklahoma City bounces back.
Yeah, yeah. You have to look at current form, and
Yeah.
I think until Houston does anything, especially on the road, they're just a
Mhm.
blind. At 2.5 points, that's to me that's a gift.
I expect it to close at 3 or 3.5.
I wouldn't doubt that at all. T Train is crying in his beer because he has to fade his beloved Boston Celtics. Baston, do you have that accent, Tony? You Baston is pocket to Garden, whatnot. Um, you'd agree with him, Scott? We're gonna fade Boston tonight against the Atlanta Hawks. 5 points.
Atlanta's been good at home. My look at that game is the under. It's the Celtics. I feel like that's a safe underplay pretty much every time ever since Jaylen Brown got injured. You
Yeah,
look at those Celtics scores, it looks like 1990. Like their team's not reaching 100 on a regular basis. Those
they
games are extremely low scoring. Capella's a good rim protector as well. I'm going with the under. I think you'll see a low scoring game.
yeah they've topped 104 points once in the last 7 games.
And the
That's
record's decent. They've been good because the defense has been insane. Of course, Robert Williams is out, which is going to hurt because he's easily their best rim protector. But I do think that total's a bit high. I'll take the under.
okay. Atlanta playing good basketball. Hadn't been very good against the numbers so far, but they have won and covered their last 2 on this homestand. Yeah, I think Boston's going to slow everything down, and they do for all their faults on offense too. Still play pretty good defense.
Mhm.
I think they'll be able to slow him down enough. T Train says he's got a New York accent, so very good. Bucks should roll tonight. You
Well,
agree?
Middleton's supposed to be back. I'm not sure how many minutes he's going to play because he's finally back from COVID. So hopefully he plays a little bit. But can you really like anything about the Lakers right now?
No, no, I cannot. I cannot like anything about the Lakers. At least until Friday when it's rumored LeBron may be back. But
Yeah, but you're looking at the Lakers right now. I get that AD's been having a good year.
right,
Westbrook is not. The supporting cast has been inconsistent. Melo's been good for the most part. I think Malik Monk's been okay as well. They are just priced based on the name brand, which is why I can't believe the Bulls were only 1 point favorites against them about 2 days ago, because the Bulls were clearly better and they killed them. But the Bucks should win. You're hoping Middleton provides some spark of some kind. It's in the forum, the Bucks forum. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Bucks. I think they'll win the game handily.
yep, it's a it's an LA team that has really been really struggled on the road.
I can't even say they're treading water. They're like 75% drowning.
Well, and the other thing is, Scott, they've only played 3 road games,
Mhm.
so they've had a massive homestand. The last time they played a road game was 4 days before Halloween.
Yeah, that's
So
not
they've
good.
been T Train. I just got your joke. I can't believe it took me that long to get it, but yeah, going to the turlet. I got you.
I see a couple people asking about St. John's against Indiana.
It's your team,
I'm
buddy.
biased because I root for St. John's. I said they're going to make the tournament. This is one of those games you need to win if you want to make the tournament. So I like St. John's money line. I think they're good. I've said it before. I just think that this team is very, very good. And you're looking at the actual depth. Uh, they still have Posh. They still have Champagny, Soriano's. They ended up acquiring, and they have Wheeler from Purdue. I just really like the St. John's team, and Anderson plays a unique defense that forces a bunch of turnovers, and it's tough to prepare for. Now, Indiana killed Northern Illinois, who was atrocious last year, so I'm not going to read much into that. And they beat Eastern Michigan, a team that's usually underwhelming, by 6. So I think St. John's has a shot to win the game.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what this Indiana defense has because so far they've been very good again against basically scrimmages.
Yeah.
So you don't know what you've got. Meanwhile, St. John scored 119 on Mississippi Valley State. So fuck it, I'm convinced.
They killed St. Peter's, which is kind of a similar. St. Peter's a lot better than Mississippi Valley, but they're definitely
Well,
beneath Eastern Michigan, etc.
try to get
I
into
just
heaven when you kill St. Peter, Scott. That's not something you want to do.
might send you to hell, but either way, I do think that this line is a bit high. I get that Indiana in Assembly Hall usually plays well, but I really think St. John's is the much more talented basketball team, at least from top to bottom, depth wise.
Yeah, I agree. This Indiana squad hasn't been tested yet. We'll have to see what happened. Um, you worried about Adewasu not being able to play? You care?
Not really. He's one of those guys who is a guard technically, but he moves in slow motion. So he's not exactly a quick guard. He's more of a physical guy. He's more of a depth piece. I don't think that's really that big of a deal. You're still expecting Posh and Wheeler and Champagny to be the main focal points of the offense. That's still going to be in place.
Jones said she took St. John's in a parlay with Michigan State and Kansas State. I like Michigan State. I'm not convinced of this Kansas State team yet.
It's okay. They're not playing UMKC. They're fine.
No, they have in the past, and they barely squeaked by them the last time they played. But you're still not going to roast me, huh? Are you still going to roast me for that?
No.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure K-State is 17.5 points better than just about anybody at this point. I know Uno is terrible.
Well, they couldn't cover that against Florida A&M, right?
That's what I'm worried about. That's what I keep looking at. And that was a game that was kind of close all the way through. So, and
a question from Jacob: do I like the under in the Butler game? See, it's tough because I think Michigan State's going to end up with around 68, maybe 70. So the question is, do you think Butler gets to 62? I'm really not sure if they're going to because they really slow the pace.
Yeah, I think
it's tough.
I think that Michigan State's still struggling to hit from downtown. Yeah, I got to lean under there.
I'd lean under. I feel better about the under than Michigan State team total over. Let's put it that way.
Yep, absolutely right. Wizards over 217.
I don't know if I want to take any over with Wizards games. They're a fantastic defensive team.
Do you hear what's coming out of your mouth right now?
They're a very, very good defensive team.
Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird that they've but you know who's not a good defensive team?
The Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, that's correct. I'd be more interested in playing Wizards team total over right there.
Yeah, I agree.
110 and a half, whatever you're going to get that at.
See, the thing is, I think I'd probably pass on the over because even the last two games, Charlotte played against the Knicks, gave up 96, played against the Warriors, gave up 102. So I'm not going to say they turned a corner defensively. They have been playing better defense over the last couple of games. Washington has been playing really good defense. So actually for that over 217, I just wouldn't play it. I think it's under or pass for me.
Okay. Vanderbilt, Scott.
Ooh. What are your thoughts on Scottie Pippen Jr.?
I don't think he's getting the respect he deserves. He's
very good.
He's always seems to be playing second fiddle. No, he is very good. He's very, very good. This is a Vandy team. They've gotten off to a nice start, and they may make some noise there in the SEC because the SEC
noise is in probably finishing above 500, which is a serious moral victory for the program.
Shot at making the tournament. Shot.
Yeah, they got a shot.
Because they're in the SEC, because everybody but Kentucky usually sucks in the SEC.
I gotta like Vandy, don't I? VCU is a team that is usually very good in the A10. First two games this season, they barely beat St. Peter's. So congrats on winning, I guess.
Right.
You lost to Wagner at home.
Yep.
By 14 points. You only scored 44 points against Wagner?
Yep, as an 11.5 point chalk, that's not good.
And now you're playing your first road game of the year. I gotta like Vandy in that spot.
Yeah, I think Vandy's played. Again, haven't played anybody really so far. Alabama State and Texas State, but they have, for the most part, they didn't cover against Alabama State. Although 25.5, I'm willing to give passes when you get those mid 20s, 30s kind of spreads, and I don't give a fuck. Texas State, they're 7-point favorites. They win by 19. But mainly, Scott, like you said, this VCU team hasn't shown us anything.
44 points against Wagner?
At all. Yeah, no, not at all.
Come on. You got to do better than that.
Yep, agreed. I like Vandy there in that spot. Agreed.
I have to.
Yeah, until VCU shows they can score, because they're always going to play good defense, but until they can score.
I'm looking at an under in that game too, potentially.
Ask Virginia how that's working out for them, playing good defense.
Got killed by Houston yesterday.
Yeah, they did.
What did they score? 47?
I know it landed 114. So
I think it was 67-47. I think.
Okay, that sounds exactly right. Michigan State Butler. We talked about that. Michigan State.
Do you want to talk about the other football game? I know that you had a total for that one, but you have any thoughts on the Central Michigan side?
you know, this Central Michigan team, I love watching this team play. I love watching the receiver.
Pimpleton is really, really fun.
Pimpleton is a shit, and then they've got Trey in the backfield.
I like Richardson as a quarterback too.
He's very underrated, Scott. Another one of these Mac guys, and you look at him and he's thrown like 19 touchdown passes or whatever it is. He keeps chucking it. You know, it's hard to play road favorites in the MAC. It really is. And this Ball State team pretty darn good, but I think Central Michigan, I think they keep it rolling. We saw them against Kent State last week. Of course, Kent State, awful defense, just awful. But they put up some points against some pretty decent defenses in Western Michigan. They put up 42. They put up 38 against Northern Illinois. Ball State struggled again to get past Akron. I kind of use that as a yardstick for me. Last time they lost, they were at home. They lost to Miami of Ohio. I've got to go Central Michigan there. I'll lay that short number.
I agree. You're looking at Central Michigan's last 2 games. Offensively, they've been insane. Scored 42 against Western Michigan, couple of punt return touchdowns, but still. And then scored 54 against Kent State. The truth is, only allowing 30 points to both Western Michigan and Kent State, I actually think is impressive because those are two of the better offenses in that conference. Ball State is going to be playing a home game against Buffalo in the final game. So this is not a senior night, huge emotional game, whatever. It's not. So if you want to think that Ball State will have one bigger game on the horizon, which is the final home game of the year, but I like Central Michigan. They're playing a really good ball. And 2.5 against the team that has really, I'd say, underperformed over the last back half of the actual conference slate. I think Central Michigan's an undervalued team.
Okay. Yeah, I'm the same way. I think this is a team that very similar to Eastern Michigan. I think they're sneaky good, and they've got some serious offensive weapons. If you like watching, we've told you this before on the videos before they play, but if you like watching a fun player, the human joystick, definitely check out Pimpleton as a receiver, and most definitely as a punt returner. He's very exciting. Nathan Cerna likes Drexel tonight against St. Joe. I like the over in that game. St. Joe plays absolutely no defense at all. Jordan Hall having a nice season, as is Funk. I think this one ends up close. Could come down to free throws.
I don't think St. Joe's has played defense in about 7 years.
No, it's just not their thing. I think the over is my favorite play for me there. Ben Campbell likes UCLA and Baylor tonight, Scott.
I don't have any issues backing top 10 teams in the country or just against a weaker competition. UCLA did me a solid. I had the second half in their matchup against Long Beach State. Defensively, I got some question marks with that team, but I do think that UCLA as a whole is still one of the best 3 college basketball teams in the country, just with the actual depth, with the experience from last year's team. So I still like them overall. They're playing against North Florida. Good luck to North Florida. They're going to need it. The only question is, are they going to get buried or lose comfortably? I think they'll get buried. And as for Baylor, 34.5. They're going to win, obviously. 34.5 does seem maybe a little bit high to me. I feel better about UCLA than Baylor. Let's put it that way.
Yep. David Stan says UCLA team total over. Yeah,
I don't mind that.
Yeah, I think that's solid indeed. All right, one more. We'll do one hockey. Michael B asked about the Colorado puck line playing the Avs. Let me get to that. Going against the Canucks tonight, Scott.
Canucks have completely fallen apart.
Yeah, they really have. You like laying the wood there with Colorado?
I would go with either puck line or to win in regulation. Vancouver has hit a wall and a half. They have really fallen apart. We know that this is a young team that showed signs of life in the postseason. Ended up beating the Blues last year, for example. They went to 7 against the Golden Knights a couple of years ago. But still, I got to go with Colorado. I think they're the better overall team. I am curious about this Capitals and Kings game because the Kings were supposed to be a bit of an underwhelming team. Then they caught fire, but the total is about 5.5 in a Capitals game. But I like the under. You're looking at what the Kings have done defensively over the last couple of weeks. They've been a very solid defensive team. And I know taking a 5.5 against an Ovechkin team is dangerous, but that total does seem a bit high. I do think that game finishes 3-2. I don't hate a sprinkle maybe on overtime in that game, but the last couple of games for the Kings, they have been unbelievable defensively. To go through those games, just to go through the last of them in order, gave up 3 against Winnipeg. Actually, I'll give out the final goal tallies for their games. 5-2, 5-6, 5-5-5. So I'll take the under 5. I'll take the under 5.5.
To finish up the point with the Vancouver game, Ben Campbell says I like the over. I do too. This is a Canucks team that hasn't been able to stop anybody lately. Giving up almost 5 goals a game over their last 6, including 19 goals over their last 3 games. I've got to play the over there, Scott, with this Colorado team that's scored 19 goals in their last 4. Yeah, I'll play that.
Yeah, I see a lot of people asking about IUPUI if I like the under. There's a general rule in life besides just betting. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And we rode Presbyterian until the bitter end and made a lot of money. So until IUPUI goes over a game, you should probably keep taking the under.
Yep. Until you 7 out, just keep pressing those place bets.
It's like the Drake spread last year. It's like, should I lay this with Drake? I don't know. They've only covered 17 in a row. Yes, maybe you should just see what happens.
All right, let's do it, buddy. We have reached that point in the show, everyone, where it is time for Scott and I to put our heads together and reveal what we have come up with for today's best play. Put on your straw hat, get on that John Deere, fire that bad boy up. It is time for the Hump Day edition of Bet That Farm. Speaking of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Scott, what do you got?
So we're going to go with a team that I like to introduce as the new Citadel, because the old one does not play quickly anymore. So we're going to look at one of my favorite over teams so far this season, and it should continue throughout the year. It is Long Beach State taking on Utah Valley, and the play that is going to be on the over 151 at -120 on DraftKings. First things first, DraftKings clearly drunk at the wheel. Most books have 152.5. DraftKings is giving you a free 1.5 for an extra 10 cents. Thank you for the early holiday present, I guess. But each of Long Beach State's first 2 games have had at least 179 points, at least 167 points in regulation. When you give up 80-plus points to Idaho in regulation, your defense has a problem. And you're looking at the defensive numbers. Long Beach State ranks 283rd in defense efficiency. Utah Valley ranks 211th. And the main reason why I'm calling Long Beach State the new Citadel is because they rank 4th in offensive tempo, according to Ken Palm. So this team doesn't guard anybody. This team goes extremely fast. I think that one of these teams, if not both, have a serious chance to reach 80. I'm going with the over.
There you go. And that is going to be our Bet the Farm play for today. Utah Valley State, Long Beach State over 151. If you can catch that 151 at DraftKings, do it. Do you hate it at 152 or 152.5, Scott? You're fine with that as well.
I kind of have to be, just because Long Beach State, watching what I did against UCLA. I know UCLA is a good team. Half the shots weren't even contested. Everyone was wide open. I think UCLA scored a basket on 11 of their final 12 possessions with half of the backups in the game. This team can't guard anybody. I like the over.
That's it. All right, guys, and that's going to do it for the show today. As always, thanks for joining us. One more time, like and subscribe. Appreciate it as always. Good luck on all of your plays today. Have some fun, make some money, and we'll be back to do it again tomorrow on Heading Back to the Window with Scott and Scott. Take care, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll see you then.